you're no doubt here wondering how you can get a head start in Skyweaver. How can you tackle those early levels and push through? Well, I actually kind of have the answer. I've played through this a bunch. I have unlocked every single hero. That's what they're called in this game. I have played with every different type of card. I play mostly Discovery, so this will be largely leaned towards Discovery rather than Constructed, although the two certainly linked, at least early game, when you have a random assortment of cards anyway. Anyway, I've talked too much already. Let's get into what class you should even bother playing as you're trying to learn Skyweaver. So, I'm not going to play around with you here. You want to know how you can get started in this game, which means you're raring and ready to play. So, I'm going to kick things off with the best Prism you should be playing with. Now, if you're not quite sure what Prism is that little like hexy thing that each character seems to have. It's what Magic players would call colors, or Artifact players, if you're one of those. Hey. They are your different types of decks. So that's what these prisms are. You have Strength, Heart, Agility, Wisdom, and Intellect are your 5 little prisms. And as I started off that list, I will do the same here. And Strength is unequivocally the best prism to start with. Now, I have done a little bit of research, had a little look at things, and Strength does typically have the highest win rate over the past few patches. I went back and checked some old patch notes and some old articles and videos and such to see what people were saying were winning the patches before the open beta, and Strength did seem to edge out just slightly. It had something like a 52% win rate pre-open beta. So, Strength is a solid bet, and it doubles up on that, because each pixel has its sort of core repertoire of mechanics. Now, these aren't exceptionally diverse and asynchronous and asymmetrical mechanics. They are the keywords that you see. Strength has more guard units than any of the other attributes. I'm going to call them attributes from here on. I might even call them colors. You know what I mean. I mean strength. So, why is that important? Why is guard important? Well, first of all, guard is kind of the simplest mechanic, and it's also the trickiest to sort of work your way around early game. You know, it is just there. It's a taunt from Hearthstone. Anyone played Hearthstone? It's a taunt. That's what it is. And Strength has the most of those. So your sort of playstyle as a Strength character is going to be getting a number of units up to the right-hand side of your character portrait. That's where your guard units go. They're going to be tanky because guard units want to stay alive. You're going to have abilities that help them stay alive, as well as some control abilities to get rid of enemies. And while I say they have the most guard units, they do have a good spread of the others. But the guard units are their most common, and they are typically the easiest to use. And that might be why we're seeing quite a high win rate with them. Because, hey, anyone can play them. I can play them. So, before we continue on, Strength, great, cool. Everyone loves playing mono red. But that's boring, right? You want to get onto some cool shit. You're a bit of an edgelord. You want to play something interesting. Well, I didn't mess around with you back when I told you I was giving you my first. But my niche pick, my dark horse pick, that's going to be at the end of the video. So you're going to have to wait for that. We're going to continue on and go through the others and suggest why you might want to play those first. So technically, the second highest common win rate was amongst the Heart cards. Now, Heart are probably my favourite. I play a lot of Heart decks. They have a lot of Lifesteal and Wither. Those are their 2 keywords that they have more than any of the other attributes. Now, I like to be annoying in card games. I don't necessarily want to be anti-fun. I just like to be annoying. I want both players to, enjoy their time and be able to get their things off. But I do like to have that sort of quirky, annoying strategy, and Heart plays into that beautifully. Number 1, not only is Lifesteal really, really impactful if you start to get ahead, it is a very, very snowbally attribute, or keyword, rather. I shouldn't say attribute there. Yes, it is a very snowbally keyword, because once you start hitting things and getting Lifesteal off, as far as I've been able to tell, there's no real cap to how high your health can go. I think there's a soft cap of 99. I think. I've never got it that far, but I have got it over 50. Close to 60. I think I was at 58, I think. And this was like late game while I was finishing them off. So if you're off to a great start, then Heart, if you think you're going to be able to get off to a good start at least, Heart might be a good pick for you, because once you start winning, it's very difficult for them to come back in, because your health resource is so high that you have so much time to come back into the game. Now, the other keyword, Wither, is why I'm really interested in playing Heart. Wither is a very interesting mechanic, actually. It's one that we haven't seen in many other card games. It definitely exists in other card games, but it's never been given an entire keyword, not at least as early on as the open beta of the game. Now, what Wither does is, say you have 2 attack, and you have the Wither keyword. When you hit someone, you will do 2 damage to them. So you hit an enemy unit, say it has 3 health and 3 attack. You hit them, and it'll do 2 damage to their health. So their health will go down to 1. But it also does 2 damage to their attack, and their attack goes down to 1. So that 3-3 is now a 1-1. Wither is very, very good for making or rendering your opponent's units useless. And I'm very much a big fan of that. It's sort of like a soft removal, because if you can turn their non-guard units with minimal-ish abilities into 0 attack units, you don't need to worry about them anymore. They're just wasting space on the opponent's board. Alright, moving swiftly on to number 3. I'll try and be a little bit faster with these last few, because they are a little bit further down the list. So 3rd in place in terms of win rate, and this is right on the sort of 50% mark. The other 2 fall beneath it, are your Agi attribute characters. Now, Agi has greatest access to Banner. Banner is something, when I first picked up this game, I was like, that's interesting. That's like a weird mechanic. That'll be my thing. That's what I want to play. And I tried forcing myself to play Agi, and it kind of didn't necessarily work. Banner is great enough. So if you're not sure what Banner is one of the keywords, and whenever you play a Banner unit or Banner spell, it gives your hero +1 attack. Now, Banner units, they have to be on the field for that +1 attack to happen, but it can turn your hero into this actual damage dealer. However, it does fall short in a number of ways. First of all, your most important resource in the entire game is your hero's health. You might think it's mana, it's not. To a very, very, very small degree, board control may be competing with it. But at the end of the day, it's how you win. You reduce the enemy's health to 0. The enemy hero's health to 0. Banner kind of promotes you to be reckless with your hero's health. Say you get 5 banners out, right? Your hero has 6 attack. You might think, you might look at your cards and go, okay, I don't have any way to deal with their taunt unit unless I hit it myself with my hero. But you're going to take damage for that. You kind of want to reserve your hero for hitting their hero and try and clean up wherever else you can. So I will say, if you want to play Banner, if you want to have the cool, mega powerful hero thing, be aware of your hero's health, use it sparingly on units, and try and withdraw it for the enemy's hero. Moving on to number 5, and yes, there are 4 different attributes, and I'm moving on to the 5th one, which means my dark horse, the one I think actually can really be quite strong, is 4th. Moving on to number 5 is Intellect. Now, this is, I think, the last one you unlock, so maybe that's one reason why it has a low win rate. Not many people are getting there, but anyone who's played any amount of the game has the Intellect characters. So, Intellect, what do they get? Their keywords are Armor and Stealth. So, Stealth in basically every game is considered overpowered. Everyone hates stealth mechanics because stealthy things usually beat people. That partly comes from me and my other channel, First Blood Greg. If you haven't checked that out, we go ahead and look at a load of Battle Arena games over there. And anyone that's played a Battle Arena against stealth characters, you know stealth characters are a pain in the ass. Any amount of stealth. I'm looking at you, Timo. I'm looking at you, Ricky. Get out of my game. But stealth in this game is a little bit more akin to its partnership with Hearthstone. Stealth in this game means that your unit cannot be targeted unless your hero has been hit that round. Now, if you are on the back foot, this is utterly useless. This does nothing for you because the enemy's always going to be able to hit your hero with something. And there are a lot of ways of bypassing to hit your hero. If you don't have many guard units, if you're not happen to not be playing strength, again, another reason why strength is so good, because they have lots of guard units, if you don't have guard units up, the stealth mechanic basically doesn't exist. They just tap your hero, probably with their hero, for 1 damage, and then they can kill your stealth hero with any spell, any unit. So stealth can be useful, but to be honest, it's probably the keyword that I look at the least. If I see that stealth is on a unit, I'll be like, oh, okay, that's there, I guess. But it's other keyword that comes up more regularly than any of the others, and this is close. Intellect has it more than all the others, but not by a ridiculous amount, and that is armor. Now, armor is exceptionally strong. Armor reduces the damage you take from everything by 1. Kind of works like armor did in Artifact, for any of you poor fuckers that played that game. So yes, armor will make your units tankier. If you can get it on your hero, it makes your hero very, very tanky. Armor is a very, very exceptional thing to have. But it's paired with stealth units, which aren't particularly great, and honestly, just by looking at the numbers and playing a decent amount of Intellect myself, I think like my second most played is Intellect. It honestly feels a little difficult to play. They don't have many units despite the amount of armor, so I feel like that's the sort of payoff, is you don't have that many units, so you've got to try and hold on with what you have. You have better control options, at least I feel like I have better control options when I play Intellect, but it's not the easiest to play around. My longest games have definitely been Intellect, so if that doesn't really sound like your thing, then fair enough. If you want to really just grind out and play super long games, roping, by trying to like maximize the type of control you can do, then play that by all means, but it's not necessarily my cup of tea. And apparently it doesn't do very well because it's last in the power rankings. Finally, moving on to the 4th most powerful, but my dark horse, the one that I think can probably go the distance, and is also my most played class, is Wisdom. Wisdom attribute doesn't have any of the most amount of a keyword. Strength has guard, Agi has banner, Heart have lifesteal and wither, Intellect has armor and stealth. Wisdom has no more keywords in any category than any of the other attributes. And that's almost why I think it can be a dark horse. You're gonna get randomized units, but Wisdom is the most sort of well spread across the board. It has an average number of all of the little mechanics and keywords you need to win. No one is going to be able to come at you, and because you don't have enough of X keyword, you're going to lose. You know, because you're being thwarted by a massive board of units before you can get your control out, you're not going to run into the issue of not having enough guard units. You're going to have guard units to play. And once you've played those guard units, you're going to have the control you need. Wisdom is, I think, probably the second best, if not the best, to play as a new player. After Strength, obviously. So there you sort of have it. That is what you should be looking to play class-wise, or attribute-wise, or whatever you're calling it, color. Up to you, but that is what you should be playing as you learn the very beginning of Skyweaver. I will add a little addendum. Play mono, please. If you're playing Discovery especially, and you are splitting your colors, you are asking for trouble because you're basically saying, hey, game, can you make my deck not synergize? Cool, thank you, excellent. Yeah, don't do that. You'll cause yourself trouble. Eventually you can, because there are cool, unique mechanics and they're good crossovers, and you can create a balanced deck from 2 different types of keywords. But for the time being, focus on the monos. Play red if you want an easy job. Play red, there's me saying colors. Play strength if you want an easy job, or play wisdom if you want a more rounded experience and to learn how to use all the keywords effectively. So if you have been enjoying this, do make sure you check out the game that we mostly cover on this channel. It's another card game, so don't worry, you're not going too far astray. But you can check out one of their classes or attributes or whatever you want to call it just over here. So go check that out.